My special guest today was actually referred to me by Rick Simpson. Rick Simpson, as you recall, is the gentleman behind the big story and the movie, actually, Run from the Cure, regarding his work with hemp oil and cancer patients all over Canada and his big court case. You may recall I interviewed him not too long ago, and I've been in touch with him off and on for the last week or so. And I was lucky enough to get in touch with my special guest that I have today. Now, let me preface it by saying this. I've said to many people, because I've gotten a lot of email regarding this, where's the science, where's the science, where's the proof, where's the science, where's the proof? Well, I also interviewed Dr. Robert Melamede as well in Colorado. So all the proof is there, people. This is one of the biggest stories, I'd have to say, I've ever come across. And so much of the time here, I've covered a lot of the so-called negative things that have been going on in the world having to do with finance and banking. And I might add that this is probably one of the best stories I've come across, and I've had the incredible privilege of mine to talk to Rick Simpson off the air, on the air, and so forth. And this story, my friends, everybody out there, this could save your life. And it's people like my next guest, who I'm having on here, whose name is Scott, who's coming to us from Canada, who's actually referred to me by Rick Simpson, is actually been manufacturing and making the hemp oil for himself, and is going to, we have also, this is an important broadcast in so much that we have one of the recipients of the hemp oil is going to be joining us after our initial break. But for everybody that's listening out there that's been suffering financially, having to deal with all the medical problems that they may be having wherever they are in the world, because I've gotten email from all over the world regarding this subject matter, and I ask all of you to do your own research on this, and the truth will set you free, everybody. So I want to welcome my special guest, Scott, here. This is his first interview on the radio. And Scott from Canada, I want to welcome you to James Martinez Live here. Thanks very much for joining us. How you doing? Are you there, Scott?
Yes, I'm here, James. Can you hear me?
Okay, I just got you. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to do this. Rick put me in touch with you, so I very much appreciate you taking the time to do this. Many thanks. So my first question for you is, how do you know Rick, and how did you first hear about him, or was he a neighbor of yours? How's the story of you two getting together?
It started with my mother having cancer. And, like every good son would do, just start looking and researching for everything they could find to help her. So I was online with a friend of mine, and he set me up with this link to Phoenix Tears. So I went on and watched the movie. And then once I watched the movie, I gave Rick a call. And he talked, 5 or 10 minutes. And that's all it took for him to convince me that it was, that it would definitely work. So we started my mother on it like the next day, and within 2 to 3 weeks, we had her tumor stopped growing. So that was on the plus side of it.
So were you skeptical at first when you watched his documentary? Did you have, because there's so much misinformation programming in the medical field, especially here in the U.S. I don't know about Canada per se, but because for most people when they first see that, they're like, that's incredible. And then they asked me, well, does it really work? So were you basically going, well, hey, I have nothing to lose here, I'm going to give it a shot type of thing?
Well, yeah, that's more or less what it was. But I mean, I've been using hemp, pretty well all my life. So, I was really kind of knew that it was definitely good for some pain, right? But I didn't realize that it could cure cancer. So that's more or less, I used it myself and didn't realize that what I was making also was the same thing that Rick was making. So, once I realized what I was making, I said, well, hey, there's no harm in trying. So I gave it a try, and it definitely worked for her for a while. But then she also had to have a feeding tube put in, and they had to change it one Sunday afternoon 3 or 4 times at the hospital, and they created an air bubble in her back. And she pretty well bled to death that day in front of us, and 2 days later she got pneumonia, and she passed away after that. But the doctor came up to me and told me that before she had passed away that He said, Scott, I don't know what you're giving to her. He said, but that tumor has stopped growing. He said, but you can keep giving it to her. That's what her doctor told me.
Incredible. So did you actually converse with the doctor and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and tell the doctor what you were doing?
Yeah, I told him exactly what I was doing. And he never had no problem with that. But, I mean,
he had no problem with it. That's interesting.
She was at the point anyway that, I mean, the doctor really could not tell me and tell her which way he's going to go. I mean, we're going to make that decision for ourselves, right? So the decision was to give her the hemp oil, and she done awesome after that. But up to the point that they had to change the feeding tube one day. And when they started the chemo, I mean, that's a whole other story. I'd never seen it go downhill so fast after the first chemo treatment.
So initially, after you saw Rick Simpson's movie, how long did it take you to make your own batch of it, or did you acquire a batch from somebody else? Because obviously you have to grow the stuff.
I had it all made. I have it right here. This is what I'm saying. Like, I didn't realize what I had in my hands, right? Because I just made it for myself and a few friends or whatever, and it helped us. So yeah, I had the ingredients right here. But yeah, when I was talking to Rick, he just kind of helped me along with the refining it a little better. And the steps to make it purer and stronger. And it just went uphill from there.
So when you were watching Rick, I mean, I've interviewed him on the air here, and I've seen his film, and he's had to deal with so much, court stuff, and obviously he's not even allowed to be in Canada at the moment. Did you feel that you might be running into some of the same problems he is by giving that to people out there where you're located?
Well, no, not really, because I mean, there shouldn't be a problem with it anyway. But no, and I don't care if I run into a problem. I mean, it works. I've seen it work. I've seen it work 200 times, and if they think they want to, come and try to take that away from us, or me, or whoever, then I think we've got a pretty screwed up world. And that's crazy for Rick Simpson to be where he is. I mean, that man should be given the Medal of Honor instead of trying to put him in jail.
No, I totally concur and absolutely totally agree. What he's done, he took the hit for everybody else by coming out and standing up before everybody. And I completely agree with you on that level. It's absolutely ridiculous that he's had to leave his home and go through all this nonsense. And I mean, it's incredible to me that all these the truth will set you free, but in some cases it's going to seriously inconvenience you as well. And unfortunately, it's inconvenienced him. So since you've been making this, I know we're going to have a guest on after the initial break here. By the name of Stan. He's going to be coming on the air here. But you've used this for how many people have gotten feedback loop from? How many people have come back to you after using this with incredible results?
Well, there's at least 200, and everyone comes back. Like, as soon as I get them on it, I ask them to, call me in a week, call me in a couple weeks, just to feedback, because I have a book that I keep everybody's name in, and their results and how they're doing, and what type of cancer they have. And I keep track of all that just for my own purpose, and just to, anybody is to ask. I've got a piece of paper right here saying this woman's got breast cancer, yes, in remission. This man's got prostate cancer, yes, in remission. Like, I've got that all written down.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So with these people, when they initially find out about that, then they start taking it. Do they report into their doctors, or they just withdraw from their doctor's care until they've satisfied themselves, until they go back and get results indicating that these tumors and whatnot, or whatever their ailments are, have dissipated?
Well, some of them will withdraw, but a lot of them will tell their doctors. And I've got a gentleman right from not too far from me. He's got stomach cancer, got a tumor in behind his stomach. And 2 months ago, he came down and got his first treatment. He was here last weekend, and his tumor has already shrunk 2 centimeters. So.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible. That's great. So you're giving these people their life back. They must be incredibly thankful for you.
Well, this guy that you're going to have on, Stan, we became real good friends because of that, and I gave him his life back. But I never gave him it back, though. Is Rick Simpson definitely did, and the oil. Like, I don't take no credit myself. I give all the credit to the oil.
So in terms of when you initially have given it to people, I know Stan, according to what you've indicated to me, that he was pretty much close to dying. Is that correct? He was pretty much at the end.
Yeah, they gave him 5 months to live when his wife called me, Diane, and they came down to see me as soon as they got a hold of me that day. Knew that I had it, came down, and they talked to me, and it took a long time to get him calmed down, tell me what was going on, and when I finally did, he told me what was happening and said they gave him 5 to 6 months to live. So I said, okay, well, you take this home, and I said, you get as much of this into you as fast as you can. And a year and a half later, he's going to be talking to you.
Incredible. That's incredible. I'm real excited about that. So as you've seen this thing unfold with Rick Simpson and all the politics that go around with it, because here in California, obviously it's legal to have it, but hemp oil is very scarce here. It's almost impossible to find. As you've seen this unfold yourself, what has the Canadian health doctors, the medical industry in Canada is obviously their days are numbered in terms of how they do business and how they handle health and disease. Have you seen since Rick Simpson's departure changes in news story there, or is it still pretty much hush hush in Canada and all word of mouth from the people that are using it?
Yeah, it's still pretty real hush-hush and still word of mouth, yeah. A lot of people still skeptical. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. And the people that are talking about it is people like me that just want to get the word out there, just want people to have this, needs it. Like, it's just crazy why it's, kept from them for so long. And what I've been doing also is the people that I've been helping is telling them, like, in your garden, grow yourself 3 or 4 plants. Grow yourself enough to keep your family. Make some oil, keep your enough to make your, keep your whole family healthy, because it definitely will keep your whole family healthy. And I've got at least 10 people, 15 people starting to do that now as we speak. So, when they can take their life into their own hands instead of leaving it up to somebody that really don't care about you, you're going to find that you'll live a lot longer.
Yeah, because I'm thinking in terms of, because cancer, as you well know, and a lot of people that listen here, it's a business. Health is a business, and it's not healthy, and especially here in the U.S. Disease is a business. So I know you've seen extreme cases of cancer. What other types of ailments or diseases have you seen success with hemp oil with, personally?
Definitely diabetes. I don't at least 15 people on diabetes from along quite a ways away from here. But the one woman that comes to mind is last fall she come over, and just 3 days before she come over, they pulled off all of her toenails and fingernails because of the diabetes, and they had her on like a million pills. It covered my table anyway, the bag of pills that she brought, just to show me what she was on. I said, I'll give you, when you start this oil, in the first week, throw these pills away. Second week, throw these pills away. She's doing a lot better. She lost 150 pounds, and, she's doing a lot better. Feels good. Feels like she's like 18 again,
Incredible.
It's just crazy.
Absolutely incredible. So wait a minute. So people come to you. I mean, I've seen people when they've had these extreme cases of cancer and whatnot. They're taking, like you said, 15 or 20 pills a day. They've got all this insurance companies. They've got to get refills. It costs an enormous amount of money. They're taking all of that stuff. So you got somebody that's taking all these pills, and they're already in, stage 4, whatever it is, cancer, and doing chemo, whatever. So the recipe is to slowly stop taking the pills, or abruptly stop taking the pills, or is that the decision? Is that a decision based upon the recipient, the person that's going to take it? That they suddenly stop taking the pills, or they slowly kind of wean themselves off?
Well, you definitely got to slowly wean yourself off. You wouldn't dare to take, stop taking anything, because, you just play too much havoc on your body. Most of them are on Dilaudid and morphine and OxyContin. If you quit taking that, like today, it would play havoc on your body. So no, you more or less has got to wean yourself off of it. But within 3 weeks, you should be pretty well off of all the pills and just on the oil.
Incredible. So I'm presuming you've become an expert. You're an expert grower now. now that you've perfected this, how many plants? If somebody's going to decide, okay, I've heard enough now. I totally believe this. I want to grow my own. Is you have what's a necessary amount of batch? And they need 6 or 7 plants to do a batch, 3 or 4 plants, indica plants. What's the exact amount that you'd recommend since you've kind of perfected it now?
Well, I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist, but I do a lot of growing it. And, but anyway, start out with at least 10 plants, and you might lose some from there, and try to get them as big as you can. Start out with a little bit of fertilizer, and maybe 3 weeks into it, and then after that, just strictly water. And the best, if you could get it outside, the better it is, because Mother Nature looks after everything better than, inside for sure.
Oh, so you do your growing, you do outdoor growing primarily.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
The better results are with outdoor growing rather than indoor growing? I want to specify this because I don't know.
Yes, definitely, for sure. That's my opinion, though. I mean, that's all I can go by is my opinion. And with, like what we've been seeing is we try to take the strongest indica plant and make the oil out of it. And the stronger the plant is, the better the oil.
What strains do you find grow best or are best utilized from this? Because I've seen hundreds of strains, but obviously the terrain and location and seed. Do you grow them from seed or from clones?
Well, we do a little bit of both. We start with seed and then we clone after that. But hash plant and indica plant seems to be the best medicine maker anyway.
Mm-hmm. So you grow
the stronger you can get it, right? The stronger the medicine or the pod is, the better the medicine's going to be. Sure,
of course. Now, after once you've gone through the recipe, you've gone through the process of actually making the oil. According to what I've seen in the Rick Simpson documentary, you don't need very much. It's just a small dot on your finger 3 times a day, or what do you recommend for people?
Well, what we start out with that dot that you're talking about, and then you build yourself up. Maybe after 3 days, make that dot a little bigger. And then 3 days after that, do it 2 times a day, and then until you build up your tolerance. You got to build your tolerance up, because if you just go into it, right gung ho, you're gonna feel the side effects. So what we try to do is start out slow.
Right.
Start out slow, build up your tolerance, and after 3 weeks, you won't feel that you even have it in you. It'll just be like
incredible.
Taking a drink of water.
So when people initially, obviously it must be a shock to their system because their body needs it so much. Does it put people to sleep quite a bit, or it just feels like as if they're smoking a joint, or what does it feel like for people when they initially put it into their system?
Well, a lot of people, they just feel tired, sleepy. That's why I suggest always start out right around bedtime when you first start the treatment. So if you have to fall asleep while you're at night anyway, and you get your best rest at night, and so you start out at night, and but if you get too much into you, it's gonna make you wiry for sure. But but like I say, you build your tolerance up with it, and within 2 to 3 weeks, you don't even know that you're taking it really.
Right. No, I've seen when I've watched the documentary, I've gotten lots of email from all over the world regarding this, and people are now, I think, at the stage because of what's going on economically all over the world, they're going to totally take their health into their own hands. And when people come to you, are they? Is it kind of at their last shot at something, or do you have skeptics come to you that say, okay, nothing else has worked, then I'm going to use this? Or is it mostly people that are like, I know this is working, and they're already clued in? Do you have skeptics that go ahead and take it and they become believers?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a few of them out around, but most people though, when they started, I mean, they believe in it anyway. And what I try to say is, you've got to watch the video first, watch the Rick Simpson video, and then but watch it with an open mind, and then give me a call, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, that ain't gonna work," but a lot of people are definitely using it for the last resort, which I wish they wouldn't. What I tried to say is, once you give the oil your first chance, and then if that don't work, then try the doctor, then try the chemo and the radiation. But I always say, try the oil first, because you're going to find 99.9 times out of 10 that you're going to be cured. And where we're having the problem is the people that's been chemoed 30, 40 times, and radiation 30, 40 times. Like, there's so much damage done to them that it takes a lot of oil to even start to cure them before they can even get to the cancer,
Right,
So
right,
this is what I try to say, try the oil first. And if that don't work, then give the doctors a try. But you're going to find that you'll probably be cured in 3 months. In a lot of cases, that's what's happening.
That's incredible. No, I when I first came across the story, I'm like, this cannot be this simple. It cannot be this simple. I was skeptic of myself, and then I looked at the video, and I'm like, this must be one of the biggest stories of all time, if this is true. And I'm like, I had somebody else look into it, and then slowly I started getting emails building up, and like, this is absolutely incredible. Have you heard of anybody that's come back after bone cancer with hemp oil?
Yes, actually, I'm dealing with a guy out of Moncton. It's in his skull right now, doing awesome. He's got 2 treatments on him, like 2 full treatments. And he went to visit his daughter out in Calgary at Christmas time. He's doing awesome. He calls me every now and then, definitely.
Incredible. So, that's incredible. So people must be, after they start taking it, they must be, owe a debt of gratitude to Rick and you and all the people that have managed to get this in front of them. I mean, getting somebody's life back. I mean, there's no price you could pay on that. I mean, and that's remarkable what you've done. I got to say, you've got courage and bravery for doing what you're doing. I think it's just great. I think it's just fantastic that you're doing it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What I want to ask you is based upon people that have come to you that are sick, is there any unusual, rare diseases that they've come to you with that people may not have heard of that you're getting good results from?
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty well. It's the diseases that everybody's well aware of. But it's helping colitis too, big time. There's a couple nurses from the hospital, and they're even coming to see me and bringing patients, for Pete's sake, to me. And there's a therapist in Nova Scotia that's giving it to his patients for therapy, and he's sending them to me, telling me if you can get your hands on hemp oil, go get it.
No kidding. So I think that's incredible that you have a rotating clientele list now of all these people coming. I think that's just great. I mean, did you ever think this would happen in your life like this? I mean, because I know you're involved in something totally different, but did you think that you would be involved like this?
No, absolutely not. 4 years ago, I'd never thought I'd be doing this right now. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure your mother would be so proud of you. Your mother would be so proud of you that you're doing this. Incredible.
Yeah,
well, listen, hang on just a second. Okay. We're going to take a quick break, Scott, and we're going to come back. I recently was watching CNN here in the U.S., and they run a story occasionally called Heroes. And, granted, a lot of the people that they cover on that section when they are talking about heroes in the world and in the U.S., they're good and they're warranted. But if I were ever to nominate somebody as a hero, I would definitely say my guest Scott and also Rick Simpson for doing what they're doing and literally saving people's lives and educating them at the same time for all the tragedy they've had to go through, suffering from a disease and suddenly coming back from it. Now, let me just preface this by saying I have been looking for somebody that has used hemp oil that has had the disease, and then managed to acquire the hemp oil, and then can come back and be able to say, hey, this is what happened before, and this is what happened now. And it's been very, very difficult to come by those type of people, mostly because I think a lot of them don't want anybody to know that they used it and are kind of hiding out of fear for that. So today it's really special because Scott managed to get one of his close friends to come on and give a testimony on actually what happened to him. So I hope everybody, when they hear this broadcast, you take this MP3 and you spread it everywhere. And I mean everywhere, because this is where the rubber meets the road, because you need to know that somebody's done it and they've taken the stand and stood up and say, hey, this is what happened to me before and this is where I'm at today, and it's all because of this, because you will end up probably saving somebody else's life as well. So without further ado, let's bring on Stan. Stan, welcome aboard.
Hello. Well, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, Stan. So I can't wait to hear your story. I want to hear what it was like, where you were at health-wise before you took the hemp oil, and how that came to be.
Okay, how it was. I was sick. I was puking up blood, going to the washroom. Blood was coming out. I ate an apple a day, drank about 8 bottles of water. That's all I could keep in my stomach. Mm-hmm. Then, so they passed some tests and all that, and my sister said, geez, you don't look good. I weighed 350 pounds, and nobody knew what was wrong because I didn't eat except an apple a day and drank water. So I went past tests and all that. So it took about 2 months to get the result back. Then they told me I had lymphoma, this cancer, and I had lumps coming out, like all your glands and all that. It's all filled up. I had lumps coming out of my neck, all over anyway. So I said, okay. Then they told me, seen the doctor, and I went and seen the specialist. They said I had 6 months to live. That's 2 years ago. So I said, okay, there I go. So I went on a bender. Said, if I got 6 months to live, I'm going to go party. Gee, I'm too young to die, and I'm going to die anyway. So my wife, well, it wasn't my wife then, was a friend. So I went and seen her, and I said, this is the last time you're going to see me because I'm going to party. Next thing I know, the next day, she grabbed me by the hand. She said, you're coming with me. I said, what do you mean I'm going with you? I said, I don't have time for this. I said, this is time to party. And she said, we're going to go get you some help. So the night before, she had talked to her friend, and she found Rick Simpson and my other friend, Scott. And she said, we're going for a ride. So we went for a drive. So I met Scott then. Then he gave me some oil there, some hemp oil. And I started taking it. Well, the night when I was coming home, I was already sick. So he said, take much as you can. So I used to smoke pot before, so I said, that's nothing, that's only oil. So I took a big glob of it and put it in my mouth. So coming home, I was arguing with my friend there. I said, when are we going to get to Perth, to Grand Falls? I said, we just passed the covered bridge. He said, no. He said, we passed covered bridge about an hour ago. And I was arguing with her, and next thing I knew, we were to Perth. Then after that, I started taking oil 3 times a day for hold on, how long it was?
20 days.
20 days. Then I went to pass some more tests, and the only thing they could find on my spleen was the bigger my small fingernail left that lymphoma cancer. So I said, oh, okay. So I kept on taking it. And
that's great.
Me, like, geez, I ain't going to die yet. So I kept on taking it. And now that I've been over 2 years, I'm still cancer-free. I've been passing some tests every 6 months. Now I'm down to a year there. Like, I go another year, then they're going to give me a test. And I don't have cancer. And before that, I couldn't tie my shoes because I had bone disease. And now I can tie my shoes by myself. I can put my clothes on by myself. And I feel not too bad. And my sugar went down when I was taking the oil. To me, it's a miracle. I don't know why it don't heal yet, because I had a hole in my foot. It didn't ever heal. I used to buy salve. It cost me $150 a tube. And never healed. The doctor said, well, we'll probably try this stuff. Well, we tried that stuff. That didn't work. So one day I said, well, my wife said, well, let's put some oil on it and a Band-Aid. And we put oil on it, put a Band-Aid, wait 3 days. We took it off. The Band-Aid was like black. All the poison was coming out. And around there was a little bit black still, but pink was coming up. She said, well, we'll put it again. So we did that twice. We put it again, and now my foot is healed. There's no hole. There's like a brown spot that's darker than the red, but there's no hole. There's nothing coming out of it. So I think people should really think what they're doing instead of going to a pharmacy and listen to the doctor taking a whole bunch of pills, and they call it a drugstore. So me, I'm supposed to be a drug addict because I'm taking that oil. Well, I think the pharmacy is selling more drugs than what I am because I'm not selling nothing, and I'm giving it to people who need it. I'm helping other people now.
That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So the doctor, you had lymphoma. The doctor got a certain amount of, you're already suffering incredibly in the first place. And then, I mean, when did you start to feel a difference? After a month of taking it, a couple weeks, a couple days? When did you start to feel a difference?
A couple of weeks.
About 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I started really feeling it. Before that, I was like a zombie because I give up. And what it is, cancer is curable if you know how to do it with that oil. Because what it is, it's stuff you never cope with in your life. And all the pressure people are giving you, like the government, nothing goes up. And like the food goes up and the salary stays down. And I'm on a pension because I was sick before. I had a big, bad injury, and I had a heart problem. But then I got diabetes. So I said, well, that's almost everything I got. And they threw that in my face. I had lymphoma. So with that oil, it helps you to cope with your sickness and makes your brain feel like not so much pressure. So that's how you can heal yourself. And at the same time, you have nightmares. Nightmares, it's a confusion, a healing. Because all the stuff you went through your life you didn't cope with, you're coping it in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's really a miracle to me. Like it took me 2 weeks to realize, like if you don't, how would I say that now to make it sound good? Like
if you don't deal with your past. Sorry, I'm going to come in here. I'm his wife.
No. Is this your wife?
I could see him going through that. And when he was having dreams, it was stuff in his childhood and his adulthood that he didn't deal with emotionally. And I think that's part of the healing process. The oil gives you that opportunity, like the state of mind to deal with that stuff. That's part of the healing also. It enables you to go through that healing process emotionally too.
And what's your name? I know you're Stan's wife. What's your name?
Diane.
Diane. So Diane, you were the one that initially heard about Rick, and then you heard about Scott, and you made the connection there, and then you started giving it to Stan right away. Then, right?
Yes, I did. The same night I took him down to get it, he started taking it, and I made sure I did everything that Scott told me. There was a tea that he told me to get for Stan and have him drink that once a day, Easy Act tea, and make him vegetable juice, fresh vegetable juice, and proper diet. So he used to take the oil 3 times a day, and he slept for about 2 weeks. I used to wake him up, get him up. He used to eat, almost fall asleep in his plate. I used to help him back to bed, and he'd go back to sleep, wake him up when it was time for supper. So he slept pretty much 2 weeks in a row.
Incredible.
But, after 20 days, we went to his specialist
in St. John.
In St. John, New Brunswick, and he passed some tests on Stan and told him basically that the only thing he had left was the size of his small fingernail on his spleen, left of cancer, and he said, keep on doing what you're doing. And that's pretty much
that is incredible. Incredible. So you got cooperation from your doctors on this. You didn't get any resistance. They said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. But did they ask what you were doing?
Well, they're starting to see this, like in St. John, the cancer specialist here in New Brunswick. They've been seeing people come in with that oil.
But my doctor was against it.
Family doctor.
My family doctor was against it. They wanted me to take chemo. Well, I took chemo before for prostate cancer, and I told myself I would never take that again. Because me, like, in my younger days, I got child abused and all that, so I kept that inside of me all these years. So I just got myself sicker and sicker, and I didn't even know what was going on with me. That's what causes diseases, like cancer, depression, name it. It's there. Because you can't cope with your stuff in your past, and your body gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and then that's when everything hits you.
Right. So this was a real healing from the root inside of you. So you've gone through a massive transformation thanks to Scott's help and Rick Simpson.
Oh yes, I can. To me, like they're my heroes. Like if I could help them more, like I'm starting to be like them. Like I'm helping people down here right now. Like I'm helping help a few people there, but they were really ill. And it helped them, but they didn't want to talk about it because they're scared, like,
of the stigma that goes, like, with, it's taken like a drug. But I think that any medicinal plant like that, I see that as a medicinal plant. Anything used in the right way can help you heal. And it's been abused so long for different things that's what the society thinks of it, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it because of that.
Right. No, this is why this testimony is really important, what you're doing here, because I'm going to take this MP3 of this broadcast and I'm going to send it all over the place. Please do that yourself to all your friends. What my question is do you have in your possession, or did the doctors allow you to have the before when Stan was sick records, paperwork indicating that, and then the paperwork indicating Stan is now cancer-free paperwork? Did they give that to you, or they just told you the results verbally and let you go on your way?
Well, the doctor in St. John gave me a letter. I was at the hospital, cancer hospital, and when I went back for the result, they just said I was cancer-free. But I think if I really wanted to, I think I could get a letter from him, because I'm supposed to go back and see him there.
Now, hang on just a second. Scott, you still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still here, yeah.
Have you gotten cooperation in the form of letters, anything, documentation in the form of letters from doctors, from any of your friends, shall we say, because they're all friends now, people that you've given hemp oil to, indicating that, hey, this person had such and such a disease and now they don't. We don't know why, or he's now cancer-free or anything like that?
Yes, I have two gentlemen that way. I don't know if I want to say their names. Is that okay? Or? But I have two gentlemen that way.
No,
they had prostate
they're
cancer.
Privacy.
Well, he had prostate cancer, and I think I was telling you about one of them the first night I was talking to you. Matthew, well, I'll say his name, Matthew. Anyway, he had, when they went down, they ended up giving him 14 hormone treatments for nothing. He never got his results from his test before he went to get the treatment, and they wouldn't give it to him until he told them pretty well that he was going to get his lawyer involved. And then, he finally got the paperwork after they gave him the 14 treatments, right? But before he went down to take those 14 treatments, they could not see any cancer inside of him. But they still went ahead and gave him those 14 treatments. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I know you told me that, and that's we're talking about, that's a major crime. It's a major crime. When you told me that, I stood back and I'm like, what? Yeah. Who the hell do they think they are doing that? I mean, that's just strictly money. They just want the money.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And another gentleman, not too far from here, he had prostate cancer, and he took the oil treatment, but it just never cured his prostate. It cured up his COPD in his lungs, and it brought back partial vision in one of his eyes that he went blind in. And he's 67 years old. He runs a cattle and pig farm, and he's awful grateful. He's got his life back. He can go out and do his chores. He can drive his tractor, and he can see.
Incredible. Now let me pose this to all of you as something to think about. You don't have to decide now, but it's my feeling that it's people like you that have done this, and they're continuing to do this. If you stand up in groups, not just 2 or 3 of you, but 10, 15, 20, 30 of you, you will change the world by doing what you're doing, because everybody's going to hear about this. Everybody's going to hear about it sooner or later. Thanks to Rick, thanks to Scott, thanks to Diane, thanks to Stan. If all of you would, I mean, is that possible? Could you foresee that happening in your area? 10 or 15 people going on camera, going, like they would be in court, only in a public format on YouTube or something like that, saying, "Here I was." That's happened already. But do you think by your appearance today, it'll allow people to have more courage to stand up in groups? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. It's got to be possible. I hate to think that it's not possible, really, because, I mean, if we stop thinking that's possible, not possible, then we really don't have a future. And I think we're going to see a turnaround in this is maybe not in my kids, but in our grandchildren. I mean, the more people, the more the younger version sees this, and the more they see it work as teenagers, and it'll bring them through as an adult and see the thing in a totally different way than what we were taught. We were taught the reefer madness, which shouldn't have ever been taught to us. I think it's going to change, and I think it'll be legalized in that generation. I really, really do. But right now,
Diane, what do you think? What do you think, Diane?
Oh, I speak about it to everybody that I was working in insurance, so I know a whole lot of people in public, and when I learn that one of the people that I know is sick or something, I will talk to them about this all I can to try to have them try this treatment and before going through anything else, because chemotherapy does kill more people than it heals.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm doing some research on that, and so I try to have them do hemp treatment instead of the chemo, but it's hard to get people to do that.
They're scared.
I think we're.
Now, why are they scared? Let just hang on just a second, because I hear this story, and if I had this problem and I ran into Scott or whatever, or you guys, and I managed to acquire this and be healed, I'd be telling everybody. I wouldn't be scared of anybody. Period. I would have my life back. I would be taking a stand. But I'm interested in hearing why you think people are scared about taking a stand to this.
Because of the government. Government controls everybody. You should know that. And if you know much about it, then
I agree with you to a certain extent. But this, if it's done in groups and everybody stands up, the more you're doing a huge favor for some people right now. I know that right this second, because I know who's going to listen to this. Part of the reason why I did this is because somebody I know is on their deathbed right now and is sitting on the fence, like wondering, is this real? Is this not real? What's the hell's going on here? And it's you people that are, you're on the front lines going for it. I totally admire that. But is the Canadian government there that oppressive that it scares people that much?
Well, me, what I like to do is get somebody who could have a YouTube or something and show our face and show them what it does, like how I feel now. Like I can bend down, I can talk. Before I had a hard time, and like my sister, she used to be a nurse, and she swears by it. She says if she ever gets sick, she's taking it because she's seen how I was before and now. And like she said, like it's a miracle. Like, and when she see people, she tells them, like, hey, go see my brother. Like, he went through it. He fought it, and he took the we call it cure medicine. It's like I don't know, it's good for everything. It's good for arthritis, it's good for bone disease, it's good for, I don't know the name of it there. It's for your eyesight anyway, some kind of disease.
Glaucoma.
You take that. I know a woman in Hamilton, Ontario, and she took that, and now she can see again. Before she could see by what, just black, like she could see like shadows, and now she can see really good. She can drive her car back again. I mean, like,
incredible.
Hey, and
great.
And she swears by it, and she talks to everybody too. Like,
but I think people have been brainwashed by. I can't say the government, but I think doctors, they learn like their medicine in a certain way. I think they have to become open-minded to all the possibilities for a patient. And a lot of people go see their doctors after they learn they're sick, and they tell them about this oil, and it's like, hear about that? There's no money to be made with that? I don't know how to tell what they think.
Because it's a plant. It's nature. Like, it grows in the woods, it's nature, right? And government can't patent it. Like that plant. Like I'm not religious or nothing, but somebody put it on the earth, right, for medicine. And nobody ever discovered it, or they didn't want to discover it, except native people. They used to use it for healing stuff, too. So, like, there's a lot of things you can take out of the woods. Like, I'm half native, now you can make tea to make me go to the washroom. And with the herbs and with the oils and all that, I'm telling you, the pharmacy would go bankruptcy.
Yes, no, I know that. I know that. That's why, hey, I totally support what you guys are doing. Scott, Diane, Stan, all of you, anybody listening that you pass this on to, I highly suggest that you get together in groups and you start putting stuff on YouTube.
If you know
anybody that is going through this that's been where you've been and now you're back to good health, they're always welcome here, because I think the more people know, the better off all of you are. Hey, so I know we're out of time here. Scott, Stan, Diane, I want to thank you very, very much for taking a stand here, because by doing so, you're going to help who knows how many people, thousands, hundreds, millions, who knows. But by you doing so, it's courage to do that, I realize. And I thank you, Scott, very much for what you're doing. And I know that Rick Simpson is listening now, and I want to thank him very, very much for taking his stand. He's taken a hit for a lot of people and had to move out and do all sorts of things. So I back up 100%, Rick. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Stan. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Call me anytime.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, brother. Take care, man.